Ms. Maxine Gray has been missing since 1992 and went missing from Mount Pleasant at the age of 30. Ms. Gray's disappearance does not have a lot of details provided.
What is that on the left? See that? Oh, we have something underneath the bridge right there. What is that? It is the shape of a car at this moment in time.
She was last seen on April 5th, 1992. She was driving a 1965 Chevy Malibu with Texas license plates. This near the Circle C Trailer Park in Mount Pleasant.
Maxine Gray, who went missing in 1992, is now a grandmother, and she never had the opportunity to meet her grandchildren. Her family reached out to me from Mount Pleasant, Texas, and said, "Jared, can you and Adventures with Purpose help find our mother?"
For families who have all but given up on finding their loved ones, this team is a last hope. Civilian divers cracking cold cases for free.
While today's search here in Mount Pleasant is dedicated to Maxine, we also want to do an extension from yesterday's search just over in Douglasville, where we were looking for Charles Brandon Cook. We have one location within Maxine's radius that Brandon might be at as well. All of our cases start very similar. It's either a family member that reaches out to us via email, or one of you viewers from around the world that saw a case that might have been in the news recently, or you knew a family member, a friend of a family, and you send us an email, support@adventureswithpurpose.com, and you make us aware of it. We then start breaking it down. We start going to places like NamUs. We go to places like the Charlie Project. We start doing our research on any newspaper articles or news stations that ended up doing any reports on it. We then start building a case file like we've done for Maxine. Where did she live? Well, we know that from one of her family members who we've had email correspondence with has let us know that the reports online are not correct as to she used to live at C&J Trailer Park. She actually used to live at the Adobe Motel. And so we start breaking that down for where are we going to start with a 5-mile radius. So the initial thing I do then is I come over to a map called SARTOPO, which is kind of a search and recovery, search and rescue map that's used nationwide. I don't know if they use it around the world or not. But we start with the where did she live? Well, the Adobe Inn is where she lived. Where did she work? Well, she worked over here at the Days Inn. We then start looking at this with the Maxine has been missing since 1992 with her 1965 Monte Carlo, and it's not been found anywhere on land. So our specialty is looking for vehicles that might contain somebody underwater. So we start breaking down where might there be some water within a 5-mile radius zone. If we don't find her within the 5-mile radius for water that might make sense, we then expand it. Let's go out to 10 miles. And if we happen to have some time, we then expand it just a little bit further and we go with a 15-mile radius. We also then lean on other information. For instance, in this one, a family member said, well, she did have a boyfriend and she had some jewelry that she needed to go pick up from her siblings. And we also know, or so we're told, that she had plans to go visit her boyfriend's parents who lived over in another city. Well, the other city over here is over here in Meade. So I have a 5-mile radius over here, I have a 10-mile radius, and I have a 15-mile radius. Now this kind of touches over, and it gets a little bit confusing here, and I apologize because we were working another case that I just mentioned about Charles Brandon Cook, who was out of Douglasville. So last night as we were wrapping up, we checked this last location right here that actually crosses over into that 5-mile radius of both Brandon as well as Maxine. So we already know that this location at this boat ramp has been cleared. We also searched both sides of this Highway 8 right here. Now the thing is, they're also building a new bridge. There used to be a Ford Ranger in there. They've already pulled the Ford Ranger out. There hasn't been any other reports that we're aware of a 1965 Monte Carlo that's been pulled out. So right now, our focus is not going to be here in Mart, but we do have one potential river access location, which is en route that Brandon could have taken 77 over, and then he could have taken 259 on up north to Idabel, Oklahoma, where we were searching for Brandon yesterday. But to be as efficient as we can with our day, we start plotting locations on our map, such as this closest body of water to where did Maxine live? Where did she work? And is there a possibility that by chance, was she depressed? Did she choose to do this on her own, or did something more sinister happen? Now, we don't get into the sinister side of things and the foul play, side of things. We get into the, was something happening within her own life that she chose to do this? And I'm not saying that she did, we just have to, for our own justification, put that within our mind as we're searching. So today, we're gonna start here at location number 1, but within where she lived, we also have Old City Lake. Now last night we ran into a local fisherman and he said Old City Lake is only 3 to 4 feet deep, but we've received stories and reports like that before to where there happened to be a deeper hole where a vehicle was hiding, and because we did check, we were able to solve that case. So we are going to check Old City Lake as our location number 3 today, but before we do, we're going to jump up here to where I feel like this is more of an accident. What if Maxine was driving north from her house, she had to go run an errand up here. I don't know what her normal pattern was back in '92, but what if by chance she had a heart attack, or she was reaching for a phone or a cassette or something, and she ended off in the lake over here on the right? So we definitely need to check this location as our second most probable location of the day. Then we start backing out. What other bodies of water do we have within this 5-mile radius that makes sense as an accident location, or even as a easy access on purpose location? So as I start breaking it out, while we do have other bodies of water, none of them currently tend to make sense. And not having any mental or medical issues, for instance, like Jan Margaret Shoup that we had down there in Florida, where we found her in a small retention pond at the back of a newly built subdivision, we then come back to what's going to be the most probable if somebody's choosing to do this on their own, that we need to clear the easiest access points, because people don't take time to stop and open up gates. You're not going to take a 1965 Monte Carlo and you're not going to take it and you're not going to go 4-by-ing off around the other side of a lake to a virtually impossible location to get to. You're going to use a very easy access point, which then takes me down here to location number 4. But before I get to that one, we're going to head back up here to the north, just so that way we can officially check this off. Because as you come up Highway 30 and you jump onto the 259, and I'll come back over here to the aerial map view of this one, it's the Red River, and right here at it, you have a really easy access point that has a boat ramp that comes right into the river. So I want to check both sides of the river here, although the west side here, a little bit more difficult to get into. While I'm in the river here, I'll check both sides of that bridge. But then we're going to jump down to that location number 4, and the reason why I really like this one, while it's outside of the 5-mile radius, it's still within the 10-mile radius. We found another individual, Annie Lee Hampton, who was kind of in a very similar situation to where she went towards the largest, deepest body of water that she knew. If she chose to do it on her own, the family feels as though somebody may have done that to her. So again, this is all just personal speculation. Take it with a grain of salt. So we're going to zoom in here. What I like about this one is it is a straight shot, a straight road, where if you want to get a Monte Carlo up to 100 miles an hour and hit the water, you're free to do so. So maybe, just maybe, we'll have a vehicle there. If we don't, we're then going to come back out here. We're within the 10-mile radius, just over the border from the 5-mile radius, at another boat ramp. And then we will finish up our day down here where we have several locations. Really, we're putting in at one boat ramp here, location number 6, hitting location number 7, scanning this side of the causeway, location number 8, where we don't rule out causeways because Carrie Mae Parker, people thought for 30 years that something bad happened to her. They served warrants on the boyfriend for years. They dug up his property. He was so much speculation that he did it, and it was nothing more than an accident on the way to her son's birthday party. And so while Maxine had a boyfriend at the time, we are not putting any shade on him. We are looking at this as strictly, this is either an accident or Maxine chose to do this on her own. So while we finish off the causeway on this side for location number 8, there's also another little boat ramp at location number 9, and then we will finish up our day by coming back across the causeway and wrapping up our search. We hope that we do not have to go that far in looking for Maxine today, so fingers crossed, here at location number 1, maybe we'll get lucky, give Maxine and her family the answers they've been looking for all these years, and bring her home. 6 feet, 7 feet. All right, now we're deep enough to hide a car out here. Give me a car. Make it easy on me today. I haven't had any easy finds in a bit. Yeah, car's not gonna be any further than this out. Nice depth though, 13 feet. What we want to do though is not just the boat ramp. We want to check this entire area where you can possibly drive a car to. And what we're looking at here on Sonar view, first thing we have is we have Hummingbird. We have a down imaging and a side imaging on it. The down imaging shows directly below the boat. So anything in black water column from 0 to 12 there is the water. Once it gets down to the gold is where the bottom of the lake bed is here. The bottom one is side scan. We normally cast 75 feet to the left and 75 feet to the right. The icon of the boat is the direction of travel that we're currently heading. Anything black is water column. Now this is a picture in time, so I can actually scroll back and see if there was any objects there that I want to take a look at, such as, oh hey, we have this, but it's really small. That's just a fish right there. This other one here is our Garmin Live Scope. Anything that's happening is happening in real time here. I can't scroll back and show you, oh hey, did you see that? We actually have to go back over the object to identify what it was. Between these three, we're able to triangulate whether this is our target or not. We're able to, and usually we pick it up on side scan first, then we move over closer to it, and then position ourselves right over it for live scope and down imaging. And that's the Sonar overview on how we use it. The one thing I'm focusing in on here is that she went missing in '92, so we don't know about the gate and the fence that was up there, or you could still get around it possibly as well. And so what if you're like, all right, instead of the boat ramp, let me instead, off of the dam, maybe a little bit deeper, let me go put my car in over there, or if somebody else was to do this, let me put a car in. But as you start to come across something like this, you see how it changes here. So when you first see it, let's look at side scan here, it starts to pop up like that. You're like, oh, so hopeful. And then the more you go across it, then it starts to take shape of, oh, that's not what we're looking for. It's not a car. So a lot of times when we're out here, our heart drops. It's like, and that's kind of how it goes for us quite a bit throughout these days and our searches. And when you do find, your target, like a lot of times you'll find cars and targets, and it's like, oh, we found a car. And it's like, oh, but we don't know. And then there's other times where it's like, you found a car, and it just hits you. And it's a feeling like you can't even describe it. It's like, but it just hits you, and it's like, and those are the ones that you just know. It's like, I just found Maxine, or I just found Brandon, or I just found Ethan, or I just found Carrie, or you just know. Other cars you don't. Yeah, we're only at 3 feet deep here. So definitely not getting the car out here. But the parking lot goes up to the point down here, so we'll go check it out down here and see if there's a deeper spot by chance. Used to be a boat ramp here. You can see it right here on Sonar. Right there is an old boat ramp. That's where that drop off is now. So now we're in the hole, and you can see the shelf over here on the left. Kind of the weird coloring over here. All right, well that clears this lake for our possible locations. We'll head up into the main lake up in town that could be an accident location or not so accident. And that lake actually has a road that goes all the way around it. Talking to the local fishermen last night, there's now a gate and a fence blocking some of it for the old dirt road that goes around it. So we're going to want to check the entire perimeter of that lake for any possible entry points. Because we start our days early and we usually work through lunch, we only have so much time in an area that we want to be as efficient as possible before the sun goes down. So if I happen to be eating some peanuts on the boat, grabbing a piece of jerky or a snack, so that way I can dedicate as much time as possible to the case throughout the day. Back behind all this is the old city lake. That's the one that's supposed to be just a couple of feet deep. Very secluded, very quiet. Could have a hole or two. Coming up within half a mile right here on the right hand side is the regular city lake, or they call it Redneck Lake or whatever they call it. The fisherman was saying that somewhere right here, he said that road is now fenced off down there, but that road goes all the way around. So we'll want to check the entire perimeter over there. And then there's 2 boat ramps over here to put the boat in. And so you have, an accident location here. You like to go faster, you're reaching down for a CD or something. There's several reasons why you could potentially end up in this lake right here. So it's going to take us a little bit longer to clear it, but we're going to check most of that perimeter and go see if we can clear the lake. All right, let's see what we got for some depth. Oh, I don't like when I put in water and I only have 2 feet of depth to begin with. 6 feet deep here. Deep. I've seen since 92, so she's been missing for 20 years. So if it was deeper right here, I would say that would be a good spot, but it's only 5 feet, so if a car was to come off of there, her car would just stick straight nose down right there. Okay, so now this is what I'm more interested in. 6.5, 7 feet deep here, in cloudy water, right off of the road here, potential accident location. And we have a hump there. What was that hump? I don't think it was big enough. See it pop up though? On side scan? I have some type of a target right there. And because because I was doing 4 miles an hour. It will make my target smaller, so now we're going to slow down to 2.5 to 3 miles an hour to identify what it could be. So there it is on the left. Not big enough to be a car. So that right there, and we'll go right over the top of it so you can see it on down imaging as well. But that right there, when you start looking at the grid lines, and our grid lines are 1836, 54, you figure that's going to be roughly 3.5, 4 feet wide is what that is. So we'll come across it, and like I said, we'll get a direct down on live as well as down imaging. And that way you can just kind of see the difference. And so if we're able to pick up an object that's only 3 feet, 4 feet in size, it gives you a good idea as to if we're looking for a vehicle, how much easier it's going to be for us to identify if a vehicle is down here. All right, so it's in line right between these two trees on shore, the ones closest to us. So we'll turn, now we'll head straight into it. And there it is on live scope there. So it is, almost looks like an old tree root. But we're going to just kind of go slow here. So you can see overall, you can see the grid lines on our live scope. They're 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, and so forth. And put you back over it again. And so you'll be able to see how tall it is and how wide it is. It's off to my right. All right, there it is. So you can see the 5 foot, so it's 2 feet tall and it's 3 feet wide. So 5 feet to 2 feet, 3 feet in the water. Yeah, 3 to 4 feet wide. So definitely not a car. And there's our gate right there that he was talking about. And so this is going to be our earthen dam over here. So I'm hoping for a little bit deeper over here. On the left right here on Sonar, on side scan at the 3654 mark, we're picking that up. And you see how it's like shiny and gold on one side? That's the actual object we're picking up, and then the black part, the shadow part, is what's behind it. Because we can't see through solid objects, so think of it as a flashlight in a dark room with a human or a silhouette. You can't see what's behind it. So it's really the shadows is what really gives away what is we're looking for objects like that. Now that we're over here on the earthen dam side, it's, as I was hoping and suspecting, it's a lot deeper. We're down to 14 feet now. That's 3/4 of the lake, and we have checked the entire perimeter. Just one more section here. We just covered the last little boat ramp behind this. Last little access point over here, not deep enough though. It's only 4 feet deep. Pulling back up on the trailer and the RV right now. All right, so I'm gonna say let's pack it up. Let's go hit location number 3, which is Old City Lake. We're gonna find out real quick whether it is only 1 foot to 3 feet, and then we will head up to the Red River after that. Old City Lake, let's say that it is deep enough. It would be the closest body of water to both Maxine's house as well as to her place of work over there at Days Inn. It's where we usually like to start, but we did not start here as our first potential location because the fishermen did say it was only 1 to 3 feet deep. So we're gonna find out in the next 10-15 minutes how deep it really is. Our next stop after this one is going to be up towards the Red River. There's a ramp up there that we're going to go hit. And then our next plan is going to be Welch's boat ramp. Is that one fairly deep, do you know?
Yeah, it's not bad. To be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly how deep. We have done recovery of a boat and I'm trying to think what else. It's been about 30 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the majority of vehicles in the area that have gone in that you know of, where have those been?
Over there where you first started, Tankersley.
Okay.
Tankersley, and then had a couple back out toward Bob Sandlin Lake. There's a couple boat ramps, Monticello.
So we have the boat ramp on the north side up there by the dam. And then we're going to go hit the...
That's Taos County Freshwater Supply District.
Okay, and then we're going to go hit the boat ramp down off of 21 and hit both sides of that causeway.
Okay, yeah.
So it looks like you have 2-3 boat ramps down there.
There's probably, you know, as far as, you know, let's say, you know, looking at treasures, stuff like this, probably that 21 bridge right there, there's been a bunch of stuff thrown off there.
Oh, I bet.
Nobody's ever really gone in there. You probably find guns, everything else.
Oh, yeah.
I've never dove that. I've dove ponds, stuff like this.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely focus on that one. That's going to be near the end of the day for us today. And our furthest distance would be right about here. And then we have nothing but, I don't know what they call it, like cattails and stuff all the way around. So that's going to be shallow most of the distance around. We do have the section over here by the dam that we're going to go double check, and then we will rescan the boat ramp at some additional angles now that we know that it's 10 feet deep, which is really nice. So this is a good example of, you know, even though you get feedback from the area, at the end of the day, one of the reasons why we have such a hard time working with others that said, oh yeah, it's only X number of feet there, or oh, we've already scanned it, is that we have the saying that unless we've scanned it and we've searched it, I just simply, I can't say that it's ever been searched unless I've searched it. It's just a personal thing for me. A lot of cranes. Check out this big old crane flying across the lake here. Just look how thick this is. And it goes all the way down 10 feet or so, 11 feet to the end of it. The sonar is not reading through it. And if we don't double check it and clear the entire thing, this one is always going to eat at us if there was something under here, and in 20 years this grew up over the top of it and covered it. So we're going to clear the rest of this lake right now, over here by the dam, and then we're going to pull the magnetometer out, and we're going to run the mag in here and identify if we have any large metal objects underneath all of that. Because of the depth, 20 years of growth, it doesn't take long for plants to grow. And it's a great location. Like I said, this is the one that is closest to her house, right there off of the dam. And I just have a really deep, weird reading down there too, so a couple of readings. So the first one I have is this one here, and if you look at that, like, I am not convinced that that is not a car right there. In fact, I want to go back and scan that right now. You see that? Right there's what I'm interested in, is that one. I'm not getting the reading all the way from top down. I'm only getting it from like, it's catching it on the bottom, which is really weird too. Yeah, like I said, we'll throw a magnetometer on there. It'll tell us 100% whether we're dealing with a large metal object or not. Alright, so the magnetometer that we're going to fire up next allows us to identify if there are any targets, not just underneath those bushes, but any targets that might actually be buried as well. Now, in this situation with the car that's been in a still body of water, if it's in here, will not be buried under the silt and sediment. It's just not enough movement in here to bury it. However, underneath those bushes, this can actually give you a reading, depending on the size of an object. Let's say it's like a big warship, it will actually detect it up to 1,500 feet away. For a car itself, we can get a good, really good solid reading about 50 feet away from the vehicle. And let's say it's buried, we'll also pick that up underneath the surface. And what we're going to do is we're going to, because the lake is only 15 feet deep at that location, we're going to set this in the boat and not drag it under the water. But let's say that the water was 1,500 feet or 500 feet or 100 feet, we would be able to take a longer cable and we'd be able to drop it down into the water, get it closer to the bottom of the lake and get some readings that way. Sitting it right in the boat makes it really easy for us. We don't have to worry about it getting tangled up on anything, and we'll get every reading that we need. Now, for educational purposes, if you ever have to take a 12-volt system and turn it into a 24-volt system, what you do is, first of all, you need two 12-volt batteries. You're then going to take black to red and red to black, and by doing so, it creates double the power is what it does. If you're staying with a 12-volt system and you just want to add a bunch of 12-volt batteries, so that way you have more 12-volt power overall, or for long range, then it's going to be black to black, red to red. Will keep your same volt consistency, but if you cross polarize them, then it's going to change that and double it for you. So anyway, so we're going to hook those up right there. Red, black, and then our power that's going to go into the box here, we'll do the same thing. Red, to black, and now the full power coming out of here is now 24 volt instead of 12 volt. Now we have a main control box here that's going to read with our magnetometer. We'll have some tuning settings that once we're out on the lake, we're going to tune it for the area that we're in. One thing we don't want to do right now is the magnetometer, we don't want to tune it right here next to the vehicle, next to axles, as well as a lot of boat ramps and a lot of concrete is going to have rebar inside of it as well. So we're going to end up heading out into the middle of the lake and tune it for, a nice clean reading with nothing else around. That way, as we get back over there near the dam and there happens to be a vehicle over there, we're not going to have any false readings. It will definitely give us a nice reading that a vehicle or a large metal object is over there. Whereas if we were to tune it here, then we get out on the lake, and then we get over to where the car is at, because we did our tuning here on top of metal, it's going to mess everything up. We also have a GPS little device here. What we do is we plug this into the side of it, and this really doesn't read through the box here. What this is kind of a central hub. We can go ahead and turn this on, but then we have a tablet device here that we're also going to turn on, and this is we'll do a full screen recording for you. So as we are out there on the water, it's going to, we'll bring you into our world of what it is that we're actually looking at. What I do know is a car reading is going to give me anywhere from a 500 to a 4,000, 5,000 difference in my readings here. And so I have my current alarm set for a 500 difference. And as we start tracking over this, we're going to be able to identify what, especially on the sonar map here, you'll see that we're kind of moving right now, and it's going to let you know anything that we might have, such as a pipeline, or if we have a vehicle, it's going to start painting that picture for you, and we can keep going over a certain area and really light it up and start painting it. So I'm going to be looking for a big jump, probably about 1500 is the big jump I'm going to be looking for. Mostly interested in this spot that we were over earlier. And if I see it go down to 8,000 or up to 10, 11,000, I'm gonna get really excited in here. But right now it's not giving me any difference in reading. It's still green, no difference in reading. We're at a base of 9,600 right now. And so right here is what I was most interested in, the way that it was reading. We'll go ahead and shove the nose in here just a little bit. And we are getting nothing metallic in here at all. So I'll just kind of back up. I'll move over 15, 20 feet. I'll put my nose in there again where the magnetometer's at. And just see if we pick anything up. Alright, now while that's beeping just a little bit, it was only a change of a few hundred. I'm looking for 1500 is the big thing I'm looking for. All right, let's take it and scan along the perimeter line over here. Not picking anything up. If there was a car in there, I'd be able to pick up a reading from here. But something was in there, and there's just nothing. But what I'll do is I'll put my nose in there also, just to double check it. Let me run a little bit of this perimeter here along the shore. Now, some of you might be saying, you know, why do you not just run the magnetometer all the time? Well, the thing with the sonar, with our side scan particularly, is I'm able to cast 75 feet to the right and 75 feet to the left. So I'm actually scanning, you know, 125 to 150 feet, you know, from the boat. Whereas with the magnetometer, really for me to get a good reading on a car that we're looking for, I need to be within 30 feet of the car for me to really start getting a good reading. But let's say that I'm just getting that reading of some type of metal. I'm not able to identify what shape is it. Is it in the shape of a vehicle? Is it wheels up? Is it wheels down? Is it on its side? Is it a pickup truck? Is it a car? And so that's why I will always use sonar first as my number one preference. If you gave me just one piece of technology, if you're saying, Jared, down scan, side imaging, live scope, magnetometer, what would you choose? Side scan would be the number one thing. That's how we normally find an object to begin with, and then we move closer to it. So that's why the magnetometer is a great tool, but it is not the number one tool of choice. So as I come into the ramp here, I'm running 9,600 on my main proton box, which is 48,320 on the tablet one. The difference is I have it set at a sensitivity of 5, so it changes it by 5 times. But now you'll see that it's really changing. Now I'm running 8,600 on the main box, and that changes to 41,000. You'll see as I come in onto the ramp here, how it hit 41,000, 40,000, and that's going to be the metal that's in the ramp right here. And that's, again, the reason why I went out to tune it out here. And then I started my scan once I was away from the ramp. But we're going to move up to the Red River right now. Then we're going to move down to, I think it's the Red River next. And then we're going to move down to the Welch's boat ramp. And then on over to the last lake of the day. See, while we're coming out of here, one of the ways that we are able to fund what it is we do to come out here and help these families free of charge. We do have merchandise on our website, but one of the biggest things is not just to buy some hat to show your support, but really a device that could save your life or the life of one of your family members is a 2-in-1 emergency window breaker. We do have them with window clips that actually come in the kits now as well, so you can put them directly on your visor if you don't want to hang them on your keys. Now, in my own personal car at home, we have one on each visor. We also have in the accessory kit some zip ties, and we put them on the back of our seats, so that way should anybody in the back seat need to escape if we're in an accident, they have easy access to the window breaker as well. I'm going to stop here just a moment since we're on a nice dead-end road. But anyway, the way that it works is right here we have a little push, so it tells you the direction that you need to push this against the glass. And once you do so, let's pretend like this is glass and it pops out. It has a tungsten blade in here, pin, that is going to break the glass. Now you can use this hundreds of times and it's not going to break. It has like a super spring, like 170% stronger than what we used to have. So if you have one of our old ones, you need to get one of the new ones because I care about your safety. It also has the seatbelt cutter in here, so that way if you need to cut your way out of the seatbelt, you would just take it and then run it right across here. I won't do it because I don't want to lose the seatbelt, but that will allow you to become, unentrapped if you happen to, your seatbelt locks up and you can't get out. Now, it's not just for if you end up in water. Let's say that you're in an accident, the vehicle flips over, you're stuck in your seatbelt. You can easily grab it off your visor, cut yourself out, or let's say the vehicle catches on fire. More people will actually die in a car fire or from smoke inhalation than they will in the odd or off chance that they end up in water and end up drowning. So it's not just for what we mainly focus on, which is water, but it's also for any type of emergency. Or let's say you roll up on an accident and you needed to get somebody else out, or somebody has a dog that's in a vehicle and it's a hot day and the dog is like ready to pass out and die. You can't break windows just by hitting them. You actually need something to break the window out. So anyway, they're on the website at adventureswithpurpose.com. Helps us out, so that way we can come out here and help the family. So appreciate you thinking about getting one of those for yourself as well as for your family. So the thing about this location, when we start talking about Brandon for a case that we worked, and the link will be in the description about down below for the search that we had for him, this is the potential route that he could have taken from Douglasville, Texas, up to Idabel, Oklahoma. We didn't have a chance to finish it off as we were done late last night scanning one of our last locations looking for him. But this crosses over into the just outside of the 15-mile radius for Maxine. However, it's en route from, let's say that she was over at her boyfriend's parents' house in the next town over that we were talking about earlier this morning. We'll throw up the little map right here. But you can see also how it crosses over for the route that from Douglasville that Brandon could have taken back up to the north. And so this is kind of a twofer spot here that we're taking a look at. Oh, that looks shallow. How deep?
Maybe 15.
15 feet deep right there?
Right in the middle.
Okay, well, we'll check it then. One thing to point out, like right over here on the right-hand side, I'll zoom in a little bit more. Here we go, like 50 feet here. You see like the tire that we just ended up passing here. I'll scroll back up to it right there. There's a tire. But the thing I want to point out about that is, even though the water was up and although it was ripping through here as they had mentioned, at the end of the day, it's on the bottom. It's not moving. Same thing with the car. A car goes in here. It's not going to move. Think about it like a turtle. Turtle sits on the bottom. The water comes and it pushes it on one side and then it pulls it on the other side. Well, the same thing is happening with these tires and cars as well, and that's why these objects simply do not move. You got this guy fishing here, so we want to make sure we don't hit his line. Like an old bridge support down there. You get a car off of this side also. There's no boat ramp on this side, but you can drive a car off into here. But the entire depth over here is only 4 to 5 feet deep, so you're definitely going to see a vehicle sticking out of the water if there's one in here. Alright, well that clears this section of the river. around to give you an idea of where it was at. So Mount Pleasant here, the 3 bodies of water that we covered right over here, location 1, location 2, location 3, bonus location, which was for both Brandon and Maxine. Now location 4, 5 on the north side, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the south side here. It's 2 p.m. now, so give us a few more hours and let's see if we can cover it all. All right, public boat ramp. And looking at the map, as soon as we turn the corner here, it appears as though it's just going to be a straight shot. So this is the one where I was saying, you know, if you wanted to get up to 80, 90, 100 miles an hour and you just glide right into the lake here, it's location possible. Now, if we were also looking for a dementia patient, this would be the first location I would have gone to today if we knew that Maxine had dementia, or anybody we were looking for had dementia. I'm going to look for a straight road right into the water, very similar to this one. We found Thomas Thornton at a location like this one. For some reason, dementia patients, like, they just don't turn around, and they also go in a southeast, referred to as the Florida effect, direction. And this from Mount Pleasant would be a Florida effect. Only 3 feet here. Way too shallow for a car. Alright, that's it. Nothing there. I think that has been the fastest scan of our entire trip these last 10 days. All right, now we're at a depth that I like, along a causeway, 12 feet deep, and this takes me back to a case in Texas with Carrie Mae Parker, to where she ended up over the side of a causeway. Could be the same scenario, and we're gonna know in the next 20, 30, 40 minutes. Same depth also. The fisherman that we were speaking to yesterday, real nice guy also, him and his wife or fiance or girlfriend, saw that we were eating in a pizza joint, circled back in, bought us some dinner, so that was really nice. If you're watching this, thank you for that. And in speaking to him, he fishes all these lakes around here. He didn't know of any cars that were underwater. He did mention that this lake in the middle of it gets down to 40 feet or so. Along these bridges, they tend to stay right around the 20-foot mark. For a lot of these Texas ones that we found for some reason. I don't know what the reason is for it, just what we found. What you're seeing here on the left, as far as the shiny objects, that's going to be each one of these pillars. So as we pass by this one, you're going to see it pop up on side scan right about now. The shiny part is going to be the pillar itself, and then the dark space is going to be the actual, like I said, it's a shadow behind, so you can't see through it. And so that's the shadow. So what we're going to be looking for is we're looking for an object, a space that's going to fill in. In fact, let me switch this back over to 75. So we're going to be looking for something that's going to fill in between the 18 and 36 range. Now, the thing about bridges, we've seen cars come off of bridges and off of causeways. When they do so, it's not like when you go in at a ramp. At a ramp, the car goes in kind of nice and gentle. It's going to float for a little bit, depending on how big the car is, how much air is in the engine compartment. Whereas on a bridge like this, whether it's off of a high bridge like the 205 bridge where we found Antonio, and the car went in, and the moment it hits, it just sinks because it's hitting so hard and it's blowing out the windows. Same thing I would expect from this one is the car coming off is going to have more of an impact, and it's going to nosedive more than coming into the ramp. For that reason, we're not looking for a car that's 150 feet that way. The car is going to be within 20 feet of coming off of a bridge. It also helps with our scans, so that way it tightens us up more, so that way we're not having to double scan even further out. Oh, we have something underneath the bridge right there. What is that? It is the shape of a car at this moment in time. Let's go check that out. See that on the left? It's right there. So let's come back over it. See if it's a boat, see if it's a car. All right, so there's the pillar on live scope. There it is on, it doesn't look tall enough. There it is on live scope. It's only 2 feet tall. So it could just be part of the construction when they were building it. So if you look on the down imaging here, I'll pull it up here. It does not look to be in the shape of a car at all at that angle. So we're gonna hit it a couple of different angles and see if we can pick up a definitive shape. Right now, it kind of looks like a boat or some bridge debris. So what we'll do is we'll go right between those two pillars and pick it up on side and down at a different angle. All right, so there it is on down imaging, or live. It looks like a boat too. Oh, that's a bass boat, it looks like. Look at it on live scope. Ooh, somebody lost their bass boat down here. Right there. Yeah, definitely a boat. See that? Yeah, sometimes something like this, let's say they tie off to a pillar here, or they smash into the pillar. Like what if he's like cruising along, he's drunk and smacks the pillar and crushes his boat and sinks it. Could be one reason. Another one is, let's say that, see the thing with a lot of those bass boats, they sit so low in the water that let's say that they're passing another boat, the wake could swamp them, or they're in a great big windstorm or something and the waves are going, they're tied up underneath the pillar here. And I've seen boats, even a sheriff's boat up in Oregon, they were pulling some logs, and because it sunk the back of the boat, the way that they were pulling it, it swamped their entire boat and they lost the boat in the river. So multiple reasons why that could be sunk under there. Oh, here's another boat or something, or is that a car? Oh, that one might be a car. See the distance away from the causeway here? Could be another boat, but let's check it out. Got some different angles here. Okay, there it is on live scope. And I think it's another boat. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know, it kind of looks like a car upside down. All right, this one's gonna be a little tricky to get it figured out. I think it's another boat. I don't know, it kind of looks like a car upside down. Okay, so see there? It's the shape of a boat. See that? There's the nose of it, and the back of it. Oh, we got a seriously? That one looks like it's underneath the bridge. Let's go double check that one. It's like I've never seen so many sunk boats under a bridge before. A car is what I want now. Give me a car. So it's going to be just on the other side of these two pillars. We'll go right between them. Oh, it's right there. It's on this side of it. Yeah, that sits pretty tall. If you look at the height of it, it's from 25 feet to 18 feet. So it's 8 feet tall on that one. So there's the pillar. There's the object. Yeah, look how tall that is. Not a car. Oh, it's definitely not a car. It's more square. You know what it could be? That could be like an old bridge support, possibly, before they rebuild a bridge. We'll see that a lot. Let me hit it at this angle here. So here we come up on it. At that angle, it's leaning towards the pillar. Huh. Yeah, I have no idea what it is. Definitely not a vehicle, though. All right, well, let's keep on moving. Is it a car upside down? Is it a boat? Looks like a boat. Look at the back of it sticking up, whatever that is. Oh yeah, you can see it on side scan. See the shape of a boat there? Yeah, so this knocks out boat ramp number 2 that we wanted to target. Then we'll hit the other side of the bridge and the causeway. What is that on the left? We'll double check that when we come back. It's only 5 feet of water here though. It's not a car. Something weird. Could be a fish. A couple of fish. A weird shadow. There's a little swim area over here too for this cabin area. So they could have put something out there. We're only 2 feet of water here now. The only thing I've spotted was the boat that was on the other side. It was close enough into where we're scanning that it picked up on sonar here, but nothing coming off this side of the causeway. No boats, no trailers, no tractors, no car for Maxine, nobody else. We're almost over here to the other boat ramp though. It's at the state park. So we will finish scanning that one and it's right about as the sun is setting. That is, just to verify, I think that's our second boat. Just want to make sure I'm picking it up properly. Yep, there it is. It was that boat. Right there underneath the bridge. Should pick it up on live scope right here also as we come underneath of it. And there it is a little bit. There it is on down imaging. All right. Or no, wait a minute. Wait, I think that's a different one. Let me double check that one. Here it is, yeah, it's on this side. Ooh, is it a boat? Is it a car? I think it's a boat. Yeah, let's see, there's a boat. See how it's sitting? No. Yes, it's a boat. See the center of it there? Right underneath of us there. Tell me it's a boat, or is it a car? Yeah, it's a boat. See the nose of it? There's the back of it. That's the front of it, right there. And there's the side of it. All right, well, we found 3 boats, 1 tractor, and 1 trailer. All right, so there's the last boat ramp right there that we've got for the day. Gets down to about 10 feet here as it's coming out. That one though was the least likely because you had to go through the guard shack, but we did end up clearing it along with all of the causeway here. And to just remind each and every one of you, here in the Mount Pleasant area, I saw a lot of boats. This is one of the areas that I've seen the most boats that I've ever seen across the US. Get out there as a fisherman, use your sonar, and start scanning these lakes. If you happen to find a vehicle underwater, it could just be Maxine and her 1965 Chevy Monte Carlo. Report that to local law enforcement or reach out to us, support@adventureswithpurpose.com. We're going to re-look at this case. You know, it might be another year before we do, or if you happen to be like, hey, here's a car, here's where it's at, and law enforcement is not doing anything about it, we'll see what we can do to get back to this Texas area a lot sooner than we normally would. We also want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this with us by simply subscribing. It helps us out to come out here free of charge to help these families at no charge to them and no charge to law enforcement. It is free. We do have a membership as well that helps us with fuel, food, repairs, breakdowns, taking care of, you know, our camera guys as well. So if you do want videos early, do sign up for that membership. The link is in the description down below. Other than that, we appreciate you being a part of this with us as we travel the US, helping provide answers to these families the best we can. And every once in a while, we're successful and we bring a lost loved one home. So thank you for being a part of this with us. We'll see you on the next one.